You're killing me, Smalls.
We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS shipping packages. I'm smoking weed out them packages. If I ain't got a gun, I'm stabbing it. I got some leftover lean in the cabinet. I can hit your little hoe when she happy. Poke on that pussy shit like it's a top in it. We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS doing the packaging. I'm smoking good ass weed out them packages. I can't lie 'cause I ain't capping it.
Welcome back to the DNA podcast. It's your boy D.
It's your boy Antonio. Let's get to it.
And this week we're going to discuss our favorite anime villains. I feel like most people know that most shows are really made from the villain. You can't really have a hero without them to go against somebody.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, if you don't have a big enough foil, you never really get connected to the storyline. You know, It's always going to be, oh well, that wasn't really that big of a problem for you. You really could have solved that.
And most foils are exact opposites or exactly the same as the hero, but things are slightly different, slightly altered, and those make the best villains. Before we get into our list, what makes a top villain for you? How did you base your picks?
I chose more thinky kind of villains, things that you like. What makes this a really bad person? It's my choices, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to be a little cryptic so no one really, so he doesn't guess any of them. But I chose them because, like you said, if things went a different way, you easily could have ended up being the villain. Or, you know, if the villain didn't end up doing this, they would have ended up being, you know, maybe a good guy. So
I picked it based off of kind of the same things, and also kind of like how much were they built up. If done correctly, you can have an all-time iconic villain. If you build them up, when you build something up, only one of two things can happen. Either it can be the greatest flop ever, or the greatest hit ever. And so, build up is part of mine. So you'll figure out when I get there. My number one, I consider the greatest built-up villain in all of anime. But
okay,
let's get into this list.
Yeah.
For my number 5. I went Crollo Lusilver.
Crollo
From Hunter x Hunter. And it's for the longest time I didn't really like him, but the more that I watch, it's just something compelling about him. He leads this OP-ass group of people. And so we know his powers, but we don't know all the powers he possesses.
Yeah.
Hisoka's hell-bent on running the ones with him. So we know how strong Hisoka is because we've seen him in action, and so you can only imagine how strong this guy has to be.
Yeah, he has to be at least at Hisoka's level, and he's probably above Hisoka's level because he's ran the ones with the Zoldycks.
Yeah,
and in the manga, it was a really, really close fight,
and the Zoldycks give him high regard. Yeah, and the thing that does it for me, like. What honorable mention for mine was All for One for My Hero. But one scene sets it apart for me for Crollo, and it was a flashback to when he first formed the spiders, and just his speech was just iconic. It was like, my life is invaluable. The spider can still live without the head. So if I die, go find the new head and continue our legacy. He has no quips with dying if that's what it takes. He's just out to fulfill his goal, man. We don't know what the fuck that goal is.
Mischief man.
But I think Hunter x Hunter being so elusive has actually worked in the character. Like, I think all the characters as a whole, from Dawn to Killua to Leorio to the villains, the fact that it's been on hold for so long, it just makes your mind wander.
Yeah,
and which just made all the characters a little bit more. I would say if they were B tier, like a B tier series, just the weight has made it.
Which is a interesting aspect of hiatuses. You know what I'm saying? And I think it maybe will skew your opinions of series, and because they go on hiatus.
Yeah, but I tell people this: the build up, the show could easily come back and be ass. That's not out the realm of possibility, and it shatters this illusion. you had for everybody. Because it's like, well, fuck, you could have kept that. But number 5 is Crow, and everybody else on the list I can rearrange, but I'm pretty confident that he's at the bottom of my top list.
So my honorable mention was Shigaraki. And I like Shigaraki as a villain because he is a super flawed human being and easily could have been a superhero, but because of things outside of his control and manipulation of All For One, he ends up being the biggest threat to hero society. So it's one of those things where like nothing he really could have done would have changed his outcome, and that's also the reason why he's not on the list. Does that make sense? Because it wasn't his own personal choices.
If me and you picked the 1A and 1B antagonists of the show, I picked All For One just because that nigga is just wild for no reason.
and I think that's why I do kind of put him above Shigaraki, and he literally is above Shigaraki. I put him above Shigaraki because he is, who he is.
Yeah.
But I think Shigaraki is a little bit more compelling, a little easier to connect with. Because he's not just evil for the sake of being evil.
He was meant to be. And we're in the year 2023. I feel like all villains, based off another villain on my list, now needs this emotional connection part. There's something about that old school. Bro, I'm doing this just for fun. Bro, I'm still just whooping ass. I don't give a fuck.
Niggas think I'm here to save the world. It's like the fight. What?
And so that's not enough for it to have made my list because I guess there's not enough substance. But
it is something about that that is interesting. And for my number 5 pick, I'm going to start off with Father from Full Metal Alchemist. I found his story the most compelling out of all the villains in Full Metal Alchemist, and out of most of them, because even though he saw himself as superior and higher than humans, and that was basically his whole premise, was like, I'm better than you and I can control everything about you and get you to do what I want to do, right? Even though he was that. And in a way, he was superior to humans. Number one, he was born from human blood. So therefore, you are innately human. And he went through this whole process to remove all his emotions, lust, greed, wrath, sloth, gluttony. He got rid of all of his emotions. But at his core, he was still human, right? And his whole lust for power was so that he can become a god and basically subconsciously become more than a human, if that makes sense. Because he knew in his heart of hearts, he knew that he was still flawed.
He wanted to transcend.
Yeah. So like, and I think that was, and also he was just like super fucking OP. The only reason why the people in the country had alchemy powers was because of him. that's some fucking planning. Like, you know what I'm saying? He made a whole country just to make himself a god. I thought that was impressive.
I liked Father. Didn't love him. It was I think I didn't love him because the ending was so anticlimactic. Like, so he was so OP that he never really fought. But like, what the fuck was he supposed to do to him? He's the father of alchemy. Like, so they stripped him of his power, then he just got his ass beat.
But that was the best part. Edward was just throwing fucking hands.
I was about to say, just beat the damn
beat the brakes off of him. Mika Muska, like.
And I'm just like, damn, bro, you ain't got no type of hands. Being OP is all you could be. So I guess for that same reason, other people loves it. Like, yeah, bro, that nigga won't even like that. He just a human. For me, it's like, damn, bro, this was a serious. And that nigga, the nigga with the blade, the Fuhrer should have been the main antagonist. That nigga was.
But cold. I think that's what made Father even more, because the Fuhrer was a part of, like, all the other villains, all the other homunculi were a part of him. Mm-hmm. So like, even though the Führer was a badass, and even though Wrath was a badass, you know what I'm saying? The only reason they were able to beat Wrath was by putting him in a ball of dirt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And locking him away. So the what was impressive about him was like he could fold each and every one of these niggas.
Yeah. That nigga took anime to a whole nother level. Like, bro, are you even from this series? You look a little Dragon Ball Z-esque.
Yeah, so to me that was the that was pride they put in the ball. I mean Wrath was a fear.
Solid. My number 4 is Pain from Naruto. What more do you got to say about the man? He most people feel like he should have been the final antagonist of the series. He probably has the most quotables, and he doesn't even appear in many episodes that he talks. He doesn't even talk in many
Yeah,
episodes.
he's just there.
Yeah.
He's just imposing. Yeah,
He's just that nigga just hard, and he's I feel like the series, when you look back at it, they made every fucking villain, not every, but all main villains kind of Naruto if he went down the other path. Gaara, Sasuke, Orochimaru, Pain, like all of them are kind of Naruto if he goes down the wrong path.
yeah, but there's different wrong paths,
Yeah.
which is impressive, I think. But
And so, yeah, bro, that nigga is hard based off the buildup of when Jiraiya was collecting information. They regarded him as a god. He was able to keep the outsider world out from his village for like 20 years. So long that they thought Hanzo was still running. That bitch. He had the members of the Akatsuki actually shook individually. There's always this big debate. Itachi could have easily taken him. If he easily could have taken him, he would have. Not saying that he could not take him, but it would not have been.
if it was a no diff situation,
He would have taken him. And I think I read Itachi had a little hesitance, and that's why he didn't do good enough. And like, this nigga's probably the best Uchiha who's ever lived. Well, third, fourth, something good like that. And he's having reservations about that guy. And so, yeah, just hearing how he's wiped out villages, he's wiped out this, wiped out that. And for all intents and purposes, he wiped out the Elite Village. Like, even though he lost in the end, he still did that shit. And the only reason it was happening because
and technically he won.
he gave his life up to bring everybody back. If he didn't do that, damn, if he did not do that Rin rebirth, they lose the war without a shadow of a doubt. They're crippled. They're probably the weakest village of the main
Five.
yeah, now after that invasion. And it was just him. I mean, Konan was there too, but it was just him. That nigga is cold. Like, the only reason Naruto beat him is because he has the 9-tailed fox. If he had the 8 tails, he loses. And because he had information beforehand. Naruto's one of those things where I tell people how I like the show. Most anybody can go against anybody. It's all about how much you know of that person. They had full intel on Pain, and Pain still trapped that nigga. He just had the 9. Like, Pain still in the end captured him. So what did all that information really get you? If you didn't have the 9 tails, he would have caught him, got the bodies back, re-healed them bitches, and checkmate the world. Like, you don't see most villains like that. And it's cool that he had his like he saw the light and he went back to the good side. It completed his character arc.
Mm.
And so, yeah, that's my guy, Pain. I also like that he always, when he was fighting Jiraiya, he was like, "We are Pain." That's it. They're like, "Who do you think you are?" "We are Pain." They're like, "That's my guy." Pain. No more needs to be said about my guy.
So I chose Madara for my number 4. And let's be honest, those are the 2 best villains in Naruto. Arguably, maybe number 3 is Zabuza, but
There's a bunch of other good villains you like, but y'all know these.
Yeah, these are the top two, right?
Yeah, these are the villains.
I chose Madara because I knew he was going to choose Pain. So, but I think Madara is good because number one, that nigga held a grudge like no other.
I swear to God,
My guys would not take an L on the chin for shit.
held a grudge in the afterlife. you came back angry. Nigga, were you in heaven or hell? You didn't enjoy on being there.
And Madara doesn't have as many quotables as Pain, but there's a lot of quotables about Madara, if that makes sense. Like
He was talked about like the first episode or two, like literally in the series where he talked about the battles between him and the first Hokage. So,
and like the scene where Gaara was like, "Is this the power of a god?" You know what I'm saying? Like that's like, and then later on we saw an actual god, and it was like, oh, but I think it's just dropping 2 meteors on the Shinobi Alliance, throwing hands at these niggas, and he wasn't using jutsus yet. He was just throwing hands with niggas.
he was just getting warmed up. He just wanted to get his body hot.
Surviving a kick from powered up Might Guy.
His main quotable when he's fighting the 5 Hokage, and he's like, when he makes the 5 of him, and do you want all of them to use Susanoo as well?
Damn.
Bro, who is this nigga, bro? Bro, I normally don't back down from a fight, but I would have been crying when he said that. Bro, you gave us the business so not only did you just give the business to the 5 Hokage by yourself, you done said, fuck it, bro, we'll go 5-on-1 the other way. 25 Susanoo? Nigga, who are you, bro? Like, that's not even realistic.
Insane. And you gotta think, it takes a lot of chakra to make a Susanoo. And all 25 of them had enough chakra to make a Susanoo and sustain it and beat their ass with it. And it's insane.
And they all have fractions of his chakra.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was established in Naruto that the more clones you make,
you split it.
The less chakra. Yeah.
You split your chakra in between all your clones.
So
that's how shadow clones work. So I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was shadow clones.
It was wood clones.
Wood clones?
It
might be
durable.
Different. Yeah, it might be different.
But different. If we use logic, bro, one of them had 1/25 of the fucking chakra.
And was able to make a fucking Susanoo. Insane.
For every reason we put, that's why I kind of rank him lower than, bro, he's too goddamn OP.
Yeah.
and when I say too, it don't even make sense that he can drop meteors. Honestly, God, what move is that? How did your chakra travel through space? What?
Well, no. So the chakra becomes a rock.
Oh, shit.
That's the crazy part about it.
I thought his chakra went through space, found a meteor, and
he fucking made like how you make fireball jutsus and they come out.
Yeah,
it is the same shit.
Nah, brother. And I think this built up. I think so. I feel his ending is the same for Father as me, but it wasn't foreshadowed that way. Like his end came so abruptly. So like he became a god, this and that. And
that's why he's low on my list.
Like Zetsu did you in? That nigga don't even fight. You lost to a nigga with no bodies? I mean, you can say he wasn't looking, but still, if Tenten killed anybody, you lost to Tenten, my nigga. I don't give a damn what the circumstances.
What's crazy, this is off topic, but Tenten is like the best ninja with weapons on the planet, and she gets no respect.
So it's weird because I've heard that argument before. With weapons it's a weird category. I think she's just the best at multiple weapons.
She's the most skilled like ninja weapon user.
Because I'll take the 7 ninjas.
She can use all the sacred weapons. Like she knows how to use them and can use them.
Yep.
She can and she's skilled at everything else. She is the top of the top when it comes to like ninja rankings.
Yeah.
but she still gets washed by everybody. That's bad writing. That's what it is.
No,
It's bad writing.
the main issue. So it's like, so would you take her? Would you take Kisame with his sword? I feel like Kisame with Samarada is a better weapon user than anything Tenten could throw. I get what you're
But
saying.
Kasama can only use his sword. That's what makes her better than him.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I'm about to say I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'd rather take a person who's way better at his one thing.
But he's also a fucking freak of nature, and
he's already a tail beast.
he's already a tail beast without tail beast.
Or the fundamental thing about Tenten and why she wasn't ever going to work, bro. Nobody gets hit with the ninja weapon. Like nobody get hit. So it was like she's the best with stuff that won't hit you. Like nobody gets hit with a shuriken.
Yeah.
Nobody gets hit with kunai. Nobody. So hell, Zabuza laughed at the damn windmill and death. Bro, you ain't gonna hit me with that shit. Do you know who I am? So it's like it makes sense to me. I think the writing's good.
Mm-hmm.
She's great at something that's probably least helpful for you.
Well, I think also because it's kind of a kid friendly anime. I think more people would get triggered by kunai.
Yeah. No, for facts. I feel like if the series followed Rock Lee, he was the main character. Bro, Tenten could scrape non-focused characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the like if there's any focus on the character, nah, bro, she ain't beating that. But every other nigga in the war, she probably was catching bodies in the war. This is off topic, but it's like she's probably the most lackluster, focused character, named character.
Yeah.
No shame in that. Everybody can't be goated. So my third one. This is going to be controversial because I don't even know how to rank him, but I'm going Light Yagami from Death Note. I don't know if
He
he's
is the
a
pro tag and the antagonist.
Like when I see that, it's like, oh yeah, L can't be the bad guy. L's on the side of good. Yeah, that ain't right. But the way the story's point of view,
to me, technically Light is the pro tag, right? Because it's his story.
yeah.
But the very story is made to be flipped on his head.
And that's why I love Death Note.
That's why Death Note is great. It's
So
very true.
I guess basically I'm copping out. It's either Light or L, whichever one your vantage point is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about Light for the fact that you regularly see Light is the original Eren Yeager. I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there. People act like they've never seen a character go mad, and then you have a bad guy bleeding the series. It's the pro tag. False. Death Note did it first. Like straight off the rip, and even down to the very end, you can question it. You can say that Light wasn't necessarily bad. He was going about his methods in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't killing innocent people. He was killing people who either got away, criminals who did heinous things. So it's like he wasn't trying to make it flipped to him making the world want to kind of bow down to him, but that wasn't his intentions. He fell into madness. And so he's a compelling character. And Light makes it even, L makes it even more compelling because there's a guy just as smart as him.
If not smarter.
Because Light has supernatural forces on his side. L is just
A regular dude.
yeah. And so it's like, that's the best anime ever with no fist thrown. They made you intrigued from a fucking tennis match the niggas was having.
It's a game of fucking chess that you're watching for 40 episodes.
It got you wondering, like, damn, bro, what's next? And the nigga do something, damn, that was smart. What's next? Nigga, like, bro, you lose it, nigga.
And I feel like his conclusion, like how he dies,
Made sense.
he
got so high on his own supply, he trusted people who weren't as smart as him. And that led to his downfall. And it's just, all the while, Ryuk is telling him along the way, yeah, bro, I ain't gonna do nothing when you get caught. If you're in danger, I'm just gonna let it happen. And just seeing him get shot up and Ryuk is just right there watching and he calls out for help. And Ryuk put his name in the death note. Damn, this is a tragic tale. That was tragic. And so for that reason, Light is number 3. If Death Note was more widely viewed I feel like he will get more
I feel like
recognition.
Death Note has a pretty big following.
I think he went up in recent years.
So Death Note, like when it first came out, it was kind of like a cult classic kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then around high school, it bumped up again, and then now we're having another bump up in viewership. I think.
I was about to say, I watched it again in high school.
Yeah, I watched it when it first came out, and then I watched it again in high school.
Like
Me and my cousin and my sister binged it. Like we watched. It's only like 20 episodes, I think, right?
No, it's like 60 episodes.
60? Really? Damn. We didn't do shit for a whole day.
Hey, bro, I binged that bitch because it was just good.
Yeah, I think we watched that whole thing, like just straight through. So my number 3 is Aizen from Bleach. I like Aizen because, and he's not even the final big bad of the storyline. So, I mean, ultimately he kind of is. He puts all the things in motions for things that happen the way they happen, but he's, the big bad for the first half, like first 3/4 of the show, and I think it was really cool of him because like he was the thinker, right? Like he had a plan for a plan for a plan, and if things happen a certain way, he was like, "Hey, I can use this in my plan to do this." So he was manipulating and doing everything. And like even when we thought like, oh, his plan fell apart, like in the Ricky Retrieval arc, we found out that Aizen set the whole thing up to happen the way that it happened. And it was like, oh, his plan's falling apart. No, that was part of his plan. His plan was to get caught here so he can go to Wiccamundo, and then so he's always
2 steps ahead.
Always 5 steps ahead of you.
I have not watched Bleach, but I've heard of him and how smart he is. Characters like that is hard to write because they can, if you don't write them correctly, they're just ass fools. Like, bro, you didn't see that happen. If you saw it happen, then why did you do this, this, and this? Before what I'm heard, he's written so well that it's like, oh.
Yeah, he's written that well.
Yeah, that nigga did good for that. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, and there's parts in the thing where it's like, oh, he didn't plan that out. But then later, like, there'll be a flashback, and it's like, yeah, I set it up that Ichigo's mom got bit by a hollow, and then he ended up having hollow and Shinigami powers because I knew that, and Quincy powers because his mom's a Quincy, his dad's a Shinigami, and they got bit by a hollow.
Like,
I made this happen.
when done correctly, characters can be great like that. When done incorrectly, they're kind of like just gags. But he's not done.
Yeah, he's done right, and I just think that's how the thinking villain should be written. But also like the and why he's not number 1 is because you now have to power up your protag to a level that makes them. And I guess like I spoilers if you haven't watched Bleach by now. But he basically becomes a god, and like basically every 5 minutes his powers is doubling, so he's only getting stronger and stronger and stronger. He gets to a point where the Shinigamis can't really tell what he's doing. They can't really even perceive like what he really is.
And that'd be the problem with thinker characters like this. Boy, if a nigga didn't know so much, you sure was stupid getting him like this. Why didn't you kill him in the beginning? Like, this is what you wanted. But, the story got to go on. It won't make a good story.
So Aizen was, but he didn't know that Ichigo could get his powers to be higher than his own without using the method that Aizen used.
Yeah.
So there was actually no way for Aizen to plan this out because there was no signs that Ichigo could do this. But Ichigo's the protag. So,
which is another good way to end these characters. You had all this planned out. Can't plan out something you had no clue that could happen. So the moral of that story is take care of business long before you need to.
Trim them loose ends.
We're in the top 2. Since I built up this character so much, my number 1 is technically my number 2, but I'm gonna fit my theme of my intro monologue. So for number 2, Shinobu Sensui from Yu Yu Hakusho. I when I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho, I thought the show was going to fall off after the Dark Tournament arc. Like, bro, you can't go up anymore, bro. You've already reached damn near perfection. I consider the Dark Tournament arc a 10 out of 10. Rare in any forms of media. How do you go up from there, bro? You're just going to fall off. This shit going to be trash. You ain't going to have a character like Toguro. You ain't going to boom, boom. Then this guy pops up and it's... My number one's going to dictate this, but it's something about villains that are just simple. You don't need all this extra transformations. You don't need all this wicked looking appearance. This nigga was just a built man in motherfucking khakis and a damn sweater. And just his backstory, and like he's the epitome of, oh, he was Yusuke before Yusuke. Hell, he was better than Yusuke. Like he was so good that it led to his own downfall. They picked Yusuke because their original person, Shinobu, took the job so seriously it drove him mad. So they had to find somebody who did not give a damn. But still cared enough to save the world.
Yeah.
So like, I never thought of it until now as I'm talking. That's excellent storytelling, because some people could look at it as like, bro, because they were saying, why out of all people did you pick this guy to be spirit detective? You don't even have the qualities of a normal spirit detective. Well, little do you know that the qualities that
The
make
last
a
time we
spirit-
did that, it didn't go well for us.
And so it was personified because, for all intents and purposes, Yusuke never beat him as a human. Yusuke had to die, come back as a top-level demon to beat him. On par, like skill versus skill, Yusuke was outclassed. And it's because he channeled this energy to take, I think they said like 40 years to complete. I don't know the exact years, but he split his personality into 6. And they all had 5 years of training, so 30. It normally takes 30 years to complete, but he completed it in 5. Because all 6 of his personalities worked on a different aspect for 5 years.
That's some fucking writing there.
You like when
My
you
man
hear,
was dedicated.
when you hear of it, it's just like that kind of makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
And the reason he split his personalities is because, boom, he found his tape that he was so dedicated to his cause that he was killing demons with no problem. You give him the order, off with their head. He found his tape of humans enslaving demons, and it flipped his whole world upside down, and it broke his psyche. And so now he was doing things that were kind of unjustifiable, but he was justifying as it wasn't him doing it. That was means to the other personalities. So it was like, this is my guy. Like, that nigga was, and he completed his plans. He opened up the world to the demon. He opened up the hole to the demon realm. And to be real, he wanted the demons to come kill humans, but because of his plan, humans live in peace and happiness now. So I'm not
He
saying
ultimately got his wish.
you feel me? So it's like,
Is he really even a bad guy now?
was he? And it's like the overarching issues: was he ever really a bad guy? Because there was no problems him killing demons when it benefited humans. So what's the problem killing humans when it benefit demons? You know, like that's where the flip comes. Oh, because we're humans, it's bad now. Since we're humans, we don't want the nigga to kill us for no reason. But when he was knocking them demons off, so that's my guy. And like I said, he's technically my number one, but I built up this whole monologue in the beginning, so put him at number 2 for that.
My number 2 is Nuraku from Inuyasha. And this is the one I was I told you about before we recorded. I chose him because he's a bad villain. He's such a bad villain that he's a good villain.
It's
like-
kind of comedic.
He like his whole reasoning for being a bad guy is because what's the person's name?
Inuyasha, Kikyo.
wouldn't fuck him. like that's but I could see a person actually being like that. Like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna become the bad boy.
You gotta add more context. Won't fuck me, but you fuck that half-breed mutt. So what happens if I become a full breed? You gonna love me now? Like,
And the fact that he held this grudge for so fucking long.
I respect the fact, like, Inuyasha, if it say like it was remade today, it would easily be a top 5 anime because they would knock off some of the filler. It would make the story more cohesive.
Yeah.
But like the story was there. We just thought he was bad for the sake of being bad. Then you get these reveals. I'm just like, oh, this is why you're bad. But even to the end, he doesn't even really know he's bad because he stripped that part away from him until the very end when he's going away. He realized, oh, so this is what I was doing all this for. So he don't even know why the fuck he bad. He think he's bad
Just for being a bad guy. Yeah. Which I think that's compelling. I think the fact that like every time I think they beat him, he just comes back. I think that's I think there's some deeper meaning to that because like even when you think you beat your demons, they always end up coming back, right?
I respected the fact that he always planned for how strong they were, but not how strong they became. So like the first time he lost, I think that was when he just got the wind score. Well, that nigga came up with a whole plan to neutralize that bitch. This nigga got a new move. Fuck.
Damn.
How was I supposed to plan for this? And so when he escaped again, bro, I got something for all that shit. I think he comes up with another new move. Fuck. Why you keep learning moves? So it's like his plans won't even bad. Just damn, bro. You could have updated your database on them before you set out on this.
You should have been spying on them niggas a little further.
And he was spying on. I think that's what makes it worse. He was spying on them.
And Inuyasha was using the moves beforehand. So, I don't know.
Nah, that nigga.
But like when he brought back what's her face's brother, and that is like the ultimate like, oh, what the fuck, my dead brother, and now I have to kill him again potentially.
And even if he has a change of heart, the nigga can still die if you take this jewel shard out his back. But that means you can't complete the fragment unless you take the jewel shard out his back.
You can never get rid of me because you got to kill this nigga.
He did some cold
Cold.
You know what, bro? I gotta give it. He's an unsung one, but he's also probably the only villain ever to be the main antagonist through the whole series. Through the whole fucking
He was the big bad the whole time, which I think is, impressive.
And the series ain't short. This bitch ain't 40 episodes.
It is 4 seasons and movies.
Nigga was just a menace, boy. When he died the last time, I wasn't even fully convinced. Like,
shit, I'm watching Yasha. He made the sequel series. Like, when is Naraku going to pop up in this bitch?
nigga, you never got.
His finger made it out, and that motherfucker grew back.
Bro, you feel me? That shit just been playing a long game. No, I'm surprised it's your number 2.
I did it. I put it there to be controversial. It honestly is probably number 4, number 5, but I slid it up that high because it's a controversial pick.
Makes sense. My number 1 that goes to the boy I think is the best built anime villain of all time. It's Frieza. It can only be Frieza because Frieza was mentioned in episode 1 or 2. When Raditz talked about conquering planets, he mentioned the Frieza Force. Vegeta and Nappa come. Vegeta get beat. He goes back, and when he's healing up, they talk about Frieza. They're constantly mentioning Frieza. And we see him in the little floaty thing, and it's like, damn, that nigga don't look all that tough. We get information. He has transformations. Ugh. Boom, boom, boom. We go through fucking, like, probably 50, 60 episodes where Frieza's not the central force because of the Ginyu Force. These niggas get OP strong, and it's still not enough for Frieza. And it's just like, so boom, Frieza's base form against Vegeta, after he powered up, boom, boom, Vegeta takes him. He goes to second form. Piccolo comes back from the dead, fuses with Nail, takes him. This nigga transforms again, washes him. Boom, boom, boom. Vegeta had Krillin kill him. Well, at least blow a hole through his chest so he could be healed to go to have a Zenkai boost. Then Frieza's final form. Sleek as shit. He's the definition of simplicity. I don't think if you watch the series, you would grasp how scary it looked. Like if a random person seen it, it would be like, oh, he's kind of cute. Nah, that nigga look demon.
Especially if you saw his prior forms, like Form 1, and really the other forms are downgrades from his true form. His final form is his true form.
He had to make forms so he doesn't go on tirades because he can't control his power, and it was just like he lived up to expectation. He kills Vegeta. Goku comes, and we know Goku about to do the damn thing. Boom, boom, boom. Goku has used his move, his finishing move, Spirit Bomb on him. Damn, that nigga lived. This nigga is OD, and he made the Super Saiyan, which I would say is the greatest transformation in anime, because that was talked. I think I saw a counter. Super Saiyan was mentioned for 146 episodes before reveal. Like when it's built up correctly, it works. And Super Saiyan works so good because he couldn't even phase Goku anymore. This is what we waited for. This is Frieza full. This is the almighty Frieza built up, and he can't even hit this motherfucker. This nigga Goku's a god. Like Frieza was known as the strongest in the universe. He can't even lay hands on this nigga Goku no more. And it all made sense. Frieza destroying all the Saiyans. So this battle itself is not just battle to protect Goku friends. This is kind of Goku's legacy. Like,
I mean, this is the prevent a true genocide, a complete genocide.
Yeah, it's like he wiped out all of our people, bro. And it's the Vegeta speech. I didn't even want to be this guy. He forced me to do this. Like, this is all because of Frieza, and it's top tier. And he is so top tier that he's back in Super. And I think that shit sucked, but some people love that shit because he's so good, and it adds. At least we can now see his background. So it's like he was a little shit as a kid. I didn't even need to see that, but I like it. I did not need to see any background of Frieza, but now seeing it adds more.
Damn, he was asshole. He came out of the womb. I'm gonna cause problems.
And not to mention just his family lineage being named after goddamn appliances. Love that shit, bro. Like, it's the stupidest shit. Freezer, King Cold, Cooler, Frost. Like, I love that shit, bro. Top tier.
Well, I mean, that's one of those Dragon Ball Z things. Like most of the Saiyans are named after vegetables.
Yep.
Well, a lot of the kids are named after vegetables. Piccolo,
Yeah.
Krill.
It's the way they speak. It's something in Japan, like current.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the fuck current is on top of my head.
Oh, it's a fruit. A currant's a fruit. And it makes sense because it's a really small fruit, and Krillin is a short little nigga. That makes sense.
All of Vegeta's family being named after fucking undergarments, Trunks, Brief, or Bola. No, Bra. Bra's the girl's name. Trunks and Bra. Boma Briefs.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, like, so that's just a Dragon Ball Z like trope. Like, but like I think it, but also the on the Frieza Cooler King Cold, they did some cold ass niggas.
And it's like the way the things about them. You know how you make characters different for the sake of being different? Mm-hmm. I like the Cooler movie where it was like Cooler was in his final form, but he learned how to control the power. But he was like, you want a little surprise? Because I was able to control this form so much, I found a transformation. What? Yeah, my brother spent his time trying to maintain the power. I've exceeded it and transformed. And then Frieza... I would have picked a different color besides gold. It's on the nose. I probably would have picked a black from the get-go. But Frieza being so OP that he's never trained, and he put forth 6 months of training, and he can't
got a new form.
Like, so you're telling me all through his life he's never trained? That doesn't even make sense.
How did he learn how to throw a punch?
And he fights so well. You're telling me that was just all God-given talent? Oh, this nigga's a menace. It was a toss-up between him and Cell for me. because I don't think you can find a better a final villain, because he was literally the sale of everything we seen. He's the best bits of everything we seen from Dragon Ball to now. So it's like I wanted him to be number one, but the Frieza's like if Frieza's to be the quintessential Dragon Ball Z villain, and that's my number one. I think he's the all-time most best villain. I think he's the all-time greatest anime villain.
My number one pick is the Kishin from Soul Eater, but in a way, it is madness itself, right? So I liked Soul Eater so much because even though we had a big bad, like the Kishin was the big bad, but the real villain is the madness that lives within each and every one of you. And what makes the Kishin stronger is the madness inside of you. So like if you fall into your madness and you let your madness control you, you could easily end up becoming him. And like any of the characters can become a Kishin. Anybody could fall into madness and become a Kishin. So there's two different people. Like there's the Meisters and there's the weapons. And if the weapon can easily become a Kishin and start taking human souls and eating human souls, or the Meister could, like the Kishin swallowed his own weapon and then started eating souls. So he ended up becoming both a weapon and a Meister, and then becoming a Kishin. So fear and madness can consume you and turn you into this monster. You know what I'm saying? And so I that's why I chose that as number one. You haven't watched the show, so you can't give me any bounce off topics.
No pushback whatsoever.
Yeah, but
I think your reasons is basically the reason of a villain. Like the exact thing you detailed to me is your exact reasoning for picking your list, because it's anybody could be it. Well, if anything is dictated, so anybody in Soul Eater could be the Kishin.
There could technically be multiple Kishins at once. Now it's really uncommon because the other Kishin's probably going to kill you first.
Yeah, bro, I sense a disturbance.
There's too much madness coming from that corner. I'm going to kill that.
I think that's a revolutionary idea. I don't think you really see that implemented in anime as much.
And what's even cooler about it is that like the Kishin originally was one of Def's most trusted people, and like the fact that the best of the best could fall into darkness says a lot. And technically Def could actually because he did it before, he could beat the Kishin outright, but he had to nerf himself and lock himself in one position, so he couldn't leave the city. Spoilers. He had to ground his soul to the city, so just to keep the Kishin at bay and his madness at bay. So he nerfed himself just to keep the most evil thing possible away, and he wasn't even able to destroy it. He had to imprison it inside of his own skin.
Damn, I might give this a little show.
It's a great show. Everybody should watch Soul Eater.
Get his little freaky deaky show up.
And the more times you watch it, the more you get out of it.
It didn't look that deep with the little animation,
and the animation holds up to today's animation. It is some of the smoothest shit. The soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks that in any anime. It does not get the love that it deserves.
I'm gonna go ahead and watch it. I always wanted to reluctantly watch it. Like, let me see what this little nigga thing. Why he like this little animation? But then something else come up.
It's such a good anime.
Yeah, but let me go ahead and watch this to see if he just bullshitting. If it's your fake, You know how I always say, what's your favorite? I go, nah, never being your favorite. Nah, nigga, ain't that good, though. That shit ain't goated. Let me go ahead and watch it with my own eyes.
I don't know. I won't say that it's goated, but like it is one of the best animes to ever be released, I think.
And I respect it for the fact that you like it. I guess, did you watch that growing up?
I watched it in high school just on whim. It was on Netflix, and I was like, I want to watch an anime. I'm gonna watch Soul. I'm gonna pick one and watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, damn, the animation's fucking smooth. And that's all when it came out. It came out in like 2003. It was holding up. It still holds up to this day.
I respect it. I thought it was something you watched back then.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might have watched like an episode on Toonami, because it was on Toonami at one point.
I do not remember
Exactly.
that. And then I was about to say, Yu Yu Hakusho was that for me. I was describing to somebody. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest thing ever. Some people believe that if you watch it and take that away from it, cool. I think that. But I'm not going to sit here and try to debate with you why it's number 1, 2, 3, and 4, or 5. But sentimentally, bro, I like this little show. They're like, compared to Modern Eyes, it doesn't do anything too different than anything that a show does now. But it's bitches in the 90s. I just like that little show, man.
Do you think Yu Yu Hakusho should get a reboot? Like a retelling of the story?
No.
Like new animation?
No.
You
They
don't think
actually they released 20th anniversary, released 3 episodes in a reboot. Shit was ugly. Some niggas who like animation. Oh, this shit was clear. That shit ugly, bro. But
some of the charm of old animes is that they look like that.
yeah, like it was too smooth.
But there's some scenes in Yu Yu Hakusho that are like the one that he's fighting the doctor in the hospital.
Bro, I think
That is one of the smoothest scenes I've seen.
I'll show it to you off clip, like what I mean. I'm talking like them niggas are actually too smooth. Like it's no rough edges. It's no bro, them niggas look kind of chibi like. But I'm not for rebooting stuff. Like I feel like, well, a lie, because I think if you can do it like Hunter x Hunter, maybe. But like, I want the bitch to be re-released. I feel like older animation just sit on the platform for anime heads to watch it. It should get cycled. Release it back in the Shonen Jump, like so new eyes can see it and see its greatness. In general, I don't know why they don't do it with anime. You wouldn't have to work the fucking authors like shit, because the story's already
It's done.
Yeah. And you're capitalizing off the old product.
You're just making more money off it. It's a great business model.
That's beyond me.
It's like re-uploading old YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? You're only up from here.
You ain't gonna re-edit because you already edited, bro. That's too much money right there on the waste. But what are some of your favorite anime villains? Do you agree with our list? Do you think we were right? Do you think we were wrong? Tell us down below.
Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Any interaction with our channel really helps us grow. And on that note, we out.